If you're still finding it difficult to fully master your corset pattern, then I believe this video is for you. My name is Mercy from the Zackros brand, and this is how I drafted my 2-part cup corset. It was so quick and easy, and if you want to find out how, please watch this video to the end. Like this video, leave a comment if you want to see the finished product of this top. Now the first thing I would do is to draft my basic bodice pattern. I draft my basic bodice pattern with my customized measurements, ruling out the chest line, the bust line, the under bust, and the waistline with half an inch allowance below it. I mark my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches at this point, and connect a straight line from the bust to the waistline as you see me doing so. At the waistline, I'll mark half an inch on both sides of the line, the straight line I created, and connect it to the bust line to form a basic dart. Alright, I noticed that when I ruled the line, it didn't show, so I ruled again and create my dart. I'll go ahead to create my basic neck pattern and mark the midpoint that is left on the shoulder line as you see me doing. Next, I'll connect the line to the bust line in a slant rule. Measure the distance between the bust line and the under bust line, right? And you create a circle. You create a circle using dotted line, making sure the starting point is at the bust line. So you see I changed it. The starting point is at the bust line, and you create it all the way round from the top. This is what it should look like. The next thing you do is to take the measurement from the first line you created. That is the first line marked 4 inches from the center. Then you take 1 inch from that first line and on both sides. You take 1 inch on that point on both sides at the under bust line, and you take 1 inch on both sides at the waistline. You get it? And then you connect the lines, connect it as a straight line. Now, using your curved rule of freehand, connect the dart to the bust line at the nipple points. So you connect the dart to the bust line at the nipple points. Please keep watching what I'm doing if what I'm saying sounds confusing. Alright, you notice the lines I marked as X. And this shows that you won't cut these lines, you won't touch them. Alright, so watch the lines I marked X, shows that you won't touch them. Alright, at the top of the dotted line circle that we created along the slant line, we mark half an inch towards the center of the fabric and 1 inch towards the side of the fabric. That's a total of 1.5 inch, and connect to the bust line. So now you notice that we are connecting everything to the bust line. This is because of all the fitting should be around the bust. We're trying to make a fitting for the bust, so the top of the bust, the under of the bust should all be fitted. All right. Alright, this next step is very crucial and important. What you do is you mark 1/4 of an inch on both sides of what you just created and connect to the bust line. So the reason for this is to prevent gaps in your bust cup, in your cup. So you prevent gaps, and to make it more fitted, you make it more fitted. So now I'm going to mark X on the first initial lines created. I won't be cutting those lines, but these new lines that I have created. Is that alright? We're definitely making progress now. The next thing you do is to come down from the chest by half an inch. Come down by half an inch, and at that half-inch point, you come in by half an inch. So you come in by half an inch, come down by half an inch, and connect to the top of that circle you made. Connect easily to the top of the circle you made. Using your curved rule, connect a curved line from your underbust to the point below the chest line. Now you use your dotted lines that you created earlier as a guide. Note that it must not follow this circle. It is only a guide. Cup 1 is now ready, you see. It's a pretty looking cup. What I did in the next few seconds was that I just made corrections based on my preference. Just corrected it and curved it properly. Now we'll focus on the next side of the cup. We come out from the armhole by 1 inch, come down below at that point by half an inch, and that serves as your new armhole. You rule a line. Next, you connect the top of the cup to the newly created armhole and connect the cup at that point to the underbust, just similar to the first cup that we created. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just watch what I am doing in the video. It's now time to label. If it's your first time, it can be so confusing. Now what you do is you start from the cup 1, cup 2. You create arrows pointing to the parts you labeled. Like you can see, arrow 1 is pointing to the center front. And for instance, my arrows on the cup 1 is pointing to the center, and the second arrow is pointing to cup 2. So I'll create it like that, and I'll mark. You see, at the center front, the arrow I made is pointing to side front, and the side front is pointing back to the center front. Now I will also mark my cup 2. My cup 2 will have an arrow pointing to cup 1 and another arrow pointing to side front. Just watch as I do it. Even though the font is very tiny, you can just watch as I do it so you have an idea. I'm explaining you this so that you have an idea of what I'm doing. Isn't it so easy to create? Now it's time to take the horizontal measurements. You measure the dart that was taken out at the top of the cup, which is 1 inch here, and you measure the bust measurement at 8.5 inches and add that 1 inch for the dart. Then add another 1 inch for sewing allowance. Do you get it? Now the next thing at the waist, the dart that was taken at the waist is 2 inches dart. Now at the waist, you measure the waist. You take the waist measurement, which is 6.5 inches. You include that dart, which is 2 inches, and you include 1 inch for sewing allowance. You connect these points with a straight ruler. So now before you cut this pattern, I want you to take note that you're going to mark 1 inch inward from the original armhole that you created. 1 inch inward. Alright, then you cut out. So for those of us that will be making use of the yoke, remember the 1 inch that I just told us to mark out before cutting. Now take note of that 1 inch, and you will come in from the original armhole by 1 inch also. So from that line of the armhole, you come in by 1 inch. Rule a straight line to create your new armhole. This is to give fitting to the yoke. This is to give fitting to the yoke also. So do your normal things, come in by half an inch to create a new armhole, as I'm doing right now. So this is what the yoke should look like. It should have that deep part at the center of the yoke. Now this is the end result of my corset pattern. If you want to see how I made this corset with the corset pattern, please don't forget to comment in the comment section and give this video a thumbs up. Please like this video, share this video, and please be expectant of my next video. Bye.